Now, I want to talk to you about digital cameras, and these bridge cameras in particular. Bridge cameras aim to be the perfect compromise between compact point-and-shoot snappers and more sophisticated, bulkier SLR cameras. Like compacts, they've got fixed lenses and reasonable price tags. However, those fixed lenses look more like something you'd find on the front of an SLR camera. And with their super long zooms and lots of extra controls, you might expect closer to SLR standard results. So, are bridge cameras the perfect compromise, or are they just compromised? Well, to find out, I headed off to the Caribbean.
I'd escaped to the beautiful Turks and Caicos Islands.
And coming with me every step of the way will be these three.
I had the Panasonic FZ38, complete with a 12.1 megapixel sensor, 18 times optical zoom and HD video capabilities. The Sony HX-1, boasting a 20 times zoom and 9.1 megapixel sensor, as well as HD video. And finally, the S200 EXR from Fuji. With its 12 megapixel sensor and 14 times zoom lens, it looks the most like an SLR.
And for my first test, I've come to a remote island that's home to 2,000 indigenous rock iguanas. Now, where are they?
Here I was going to get to grips with the long zooms that should help me get good close-up shots, starting with the Panasonic.
It's a very compact camera, but it's still quite good to hold.
It focuses quickly, and although the shutter wasn't quite as responsive as I'd have liked, before long I was taking some great close-up shots. However, I was even more impressed with the Sony and its astonishing 20 times zoom lens.
That long zoom, coupled with really effective close focusing ability, is helping me get really iguana frame-filling shots.
The Sony is very feature-rich too, sporting a tilting LCD screen and 10 frames per second fast shooting mode. Not that I needed that with my languid subjects.
It's also got an automatic panorama mode that allows you to get a panoramic shot smoothly and easily. Ooh, let's have a look at that. Not bad. The Fuji is a much bigger camera. It actually feels like a digital SLR. There's a chunky hand grip, lots of separate knobs, a focusing ring, and a zoom ring on the lens.
And this satisfying manual control allowed me to grab some really great tight shots really easily.
Ooh, I don't suppose that counts.
So all three had performed well in test one. But the Sony was just shading it with its longer zoom and closer focus. For test two, I wanted to compare their video recording, a feature of bridge cameras that's often missing on more expensive SLRs. To do so, I hit the water to film a professional water skier in action and began with the Panasonic.
Now, the Panasonic takes its video very seriously. There's a dedicated button to get you into record, and it shoots high-definition widescreen at 720p resolution.
The colours were really impressive, but an occasional stuttering marred the video playback, so I moved on to the Sony.
Now, with the Sony, you don't get a dedicated video button. You've got to swing the dial around to movie and then hit the shutter release.
And the Sony's smoother recording of movement made for a much steadier, colour-rich video. Next up was the Fuji, and to be honest, I wasn't too hopeful.
Disappointingly on the Fuji, there's no high definition, no widescreen. It's just 640 by 480 resolution and mono sound.
And the low quality really showed. With poor clarity and inaccurate colours, the Fuji's video was easily the worst. Test 2 was now complete, and the Sony was still in the lead. So I returned to dry land and let the sun go down before beginning test 3.
Of course, you don't just want to take pictures during the day on holiday, you also want to take pictures of the nighttime action as well. And that's when bridge cameras with their smaller sensors have traditionally been much less good than digital SLRs. Let's see how these three get on.
I joined a Caribbean beach party, complete with colourful dancers and local performers. And they'd be my subjects.
The Panasonic has more powerful optical image stabilization than its predecessors, so obviously that'll help you get a steady shot, but it doesn't help freeze the movement of the subject.
And the low-light shots had a disappointing amount of grain and digital noise. Next, I tried the Sony, which has a trick up its sleeve.
The Sony's got a special twilight non-flash mode. Let's try that.
The camera takes 6 images and combines them to reduce the blur. It worked very well, and I also got good results using the flash. The party was now in full swing, and I couldn't resist joining in the fun. But soon enough, I had to give the maracas back and pick up the Fuji.
The Fuji uses its EXR sensor to double up its pixels when it gets dark, which reduces the amount of noise you might otherwise get in the picture.
And I was mightily impressed, as even without the flash, I was getting some of the best images of the night. Now for the G ratings, and it's 3 Gs for the Fuji. It looks and feels most like a digital SLR, but I can't overlook the very disappointing video performance. The Panasonic also gets 3 Gs. It can produce superb stills, but its low light noise and slightly slow responses do irritate. Finally, the Sony gets 4 Gs. With its good range of features and impressive video, it's a great halfway house between compact and SLR, and is definitely my favourite.